10 signs that you're dating an emotionally unavailable man. Number one, he focuses on sex and intimacy right away. Now, there are men who will call you baby, honey. They'll start talking about sex immediately. They will send you a text, hey, what are you up to right now? Before they even know you. These are men who usually are only interested in your body and not in the whole you. And so that's not emotional availability, that's body availability. Now, there are times when you set a limit and set a boundary with a man like that, and let him know what your standards are in a kind way. And if he is respectful and listens to you, then proceed. He might be emotionally available. Number two, you feel like a last-minute option and not a priority. If he is texting you always at the last minute, hey, you busy right now? I've got tickets to something in an hour. You want to join me? He never makes plans in advance, and it seems like, everybody else can't make it, so you're available. If a man keeps telling you, meet me at the last minute, again, boundaries and speaking up. I'm not a last minute kind of girl, so let him know and see what he does with it. All of these are sometimes ways that men test you. Some of these are going to be signs that he's just not ready now. But in a lot of cases, it's just that he's seeing how far he can get. Like, hey, if you say yes to sex right away, and maybe you both want it, but if you want a long-term relationship and he just wants sex, don't do it. Number three, he complains about or he's still attached to past relationships. Now, this can be exes. This can be somebody who is a widower. There are a lot of people who think they're ready to date. And when you're on a date with them, they either complain about their exes the entire time, which means they still have attachments to the past, or like a widower could think he's ready to date, but all he talks about is his wife. And so the timing is off. It's not a good time. He is not available to date you at this time. Number four is he tells you that he's not available for a relationship. Now, that may seem pretty obvious, but you would be surprised at how many women hear this. I'm not available right now for a relationship. I'm not able to have a relationship right now. I just got out of a relationship and I'm just casually dating. Believe a man when he tells you the first time. Don't go in with magical thinking. Maybe I'll change his mind. Maybe I'll be this amazing woman who's going to somehow convince him that he is ready. If he says it, he means it. Walk away. Number five, when he's out of sight, you're out of his mind. So this is the case where you feel fabulous when you're together. The chemistry's great. You're having a fabulous time. But when you're apart, you get anxious. He doesn't stay in touch. He never calls. So you want somebody who you feel good about when you're together and apart. Number six is a guy who doesn't show emotion or empathize with you. This guy is not emotionally available if he can't even show emotion in his life. He is somebody who's emotionally shut down. And we don't go into relationships hoping that we will change somebody. If he doesn't have empathy, if he is not a person who can emotionally open up or show feelings, or if he dismisses your feelings, he is not the right guy. Number seven, he says beautiful words, loving words, flirtatious words, but his actions tell a different story. Always look at actions over words. I talk about this all the time. So important to pay attention to those actions. Words are cheap. It's very easy to say, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so amazing. Oh, I'm intimidated by you. Wow, you're incredible. And then he treats you like crap. Bye-bye, Charlie. Number 8, This is a guy who disengages in several ways. And so some of the ways that he might disengage are by working very long hours and not making time for you, by drinking too much or doing drugs where he's numbing himself out, spending a lot of time traveling and away from you, a person who's avoiding difficult conversations. He only wants to have, surface conversations, or a person who's keeping secrets. And you'll know about this pretty soon when all of a sudden you find out, oh, wow, you have a wife. I didn't realize that you still are living with her. And number 9, he is nice to you, but he's not kind to others. And one of the key ways to find this out, and a lot of dating coaches talk about this, but it's super important, is how does he treat people who are in service, like service positions, like wait staff or the guy at the parking lot? Does he speak down to them? Is he short-tempered? Does he not even acknowledge a waiter when they come over? So even if you're going out for coffee on a meet date, go to a place that has service so you can see how does he treat the wait staff. This is really important. So go to a diner instead of a Starbucks. And number 10 is a guy who does not escalate the relationship. A forward trajectory in a relationship is you go on a meet date, then you go on a first date, then you start dating regularly, then you become exclusive. And this all happens within a short period of time, usually a month or two, 2 months, 3 months. By 3 months, if this guy is still just once in a while calling you, he's not escalating the relationship. He is not interested in commitment. Know what you absolutely must have and what your deal breakers are. Boundary setting, speaking up, speaking your truth, checking things out, getting curious, letting a man know your standards from day one. And this is what I teach both in my group and in my private coaching, how to really, number 1, love yourself first. Find out who you are at your core so that you have such tremendous self-worth that I need a man who's going to treat me like the woman of value that I am. You will be able to attract the emotionally available man that you deserve.